So today we have Simon Bunyi. Is that how you pronounce your last name, Simon?
Bunyi.
Bunyi. Okay, I didn't get that right at all. Sorry. Simon
No.
Bunyi is a content designer, tech enthusiast, and digital strategist. He has worked as a computer engineer for Fortune 500 companies and major retailers like Samsung, Sears, and Hudson's before making a career change as a digital marketing specialist. He's a specialist in carousel, short videos, AR filter development, and sponsored social media advertising. As a content designer, Simon is responsible for creating captivating copy and design in multiple industries on both a freelance and full-time basis. With his background in computer engineering and digital marketing, Simon is able to provide insights and strategies that help businesses succeed online. He is also an Acadium Plus active member, always sharing his latest findings and tips on how to improve your online presence. This session that he'll present to us will be focusing mainly on creating carousels to better approach your social media content. So we look forward to hearing from you, Simon. So I'll let you take it over.
No problem. Yeah. So I just wanted to take this time to discuss why we're even taking in carousels for sure. A lot of us don't know how potentially good content design is and how social media is incremental into helping brands succeed for their online purchases and doing a lot of conversions throughout that. I can tell you for sure that as a social media specialist, organic reach comes along in two different various styles, whether it be doing videos or stills. But most brands that want to really take on long form content would want to approach other ways of building that into their social media feed. And that's why we use carousels. Carousels, if you don't know, it is a seamless sort of type of newsfeed that have this sort of bleeding content that goes along from the left side. So as you swipe into every single part of that content, you get to have this sort of continuous effect while still maintaining the elements and still putting captions in between them. It is something that I've sort of discovered throughout the years as a social media specialist. And I saw that a lot of brands seem to be fascinated of how, how these type of contents are being made. So I'm going to show you guys some samples of how or what type of work that I've done so far with. This is influencer from New York. Her name is Shab, hair expert. She's originally from Toronto, but she wanted to create some tips about hair care. And so here is a great example of what a carousel should look like. As you see, it starts with a captions and a sort of action that you want to do. As you swipe here, you get to see these effects of sort of continuing effect. And the last one of it would be like a CTA. So with this, it was it took a bit more time. A lot of times these carousels are made a few days ahead. I would typically post them and have the discussions on Monday. They don't get out until Wednesday. That's just one of the great examples of these type of posts. For as long as there's context, we'll be able to kind of take that into retrospective. One more example that we can get is from Olga. She is a venture capitalist from New York. She wanted to build stories that have some sort of like black and white. This is just one of the recent designs I did for her. But here, you would see that she wanted to incorporate sort of that publicist sort of look with elements of the New York background and captions along with her text as well. So you got the pigeon there from the background, from the side, some captions. I'll just keep going with this. I'll just share it to you guys. But the idea is that here it would look great, but as you make it, it's a bit more confusing. So I created a template for you guys to use in case you want to build carousels. I'm going to teach you guys how to use it as we go through it. So we are in Canva. Just to let you know, Canva, my subscription is currently in a pro subscription. So some of these elements that we're going to be using will be like the background remover, the distortions, and all of the other stuff will be only available on a pro or enterprise version. So I highly recommend using that membership. Another thing to keep in mind is that this carousel is originally a 5400 by 1080 because for each and every carousel, it is a 1080 by 1080. And you would know why. I created a grid. So I'm going to remove these guidelines so you get to see what exactly it would look like. So without these grids, it would look just completely empty. But with the grids and the guides and the rulers, the margins, you get to see where your element should be and where you would need to stop. So for every areas like this is the in between them, and then you got some centers here. You'll be able to keep things contained as much as possible. So he's a dog with some really beautiful insights. He has a lot of comedy, which you can tell. But for here, we're going to talk about how we can sort of help those enthusiasts to know how to take care of a bull terrier. So for this, we're going to use another program called Jarvis. Jarvis is an AI tool that helps us create automated copy based on the intentions of the topic, whether it be short form or long form. Jarvis AI is definitely a very strong type of tool for those who are looking to expand their copywriting without having a need to, dive deeper into it. It is something that you would want to use as supplementary rather than relying on it completely. From this part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new document. I'm going to go from scratch. And I'm going to ask Jarvis to write a 3-point, write 3 reasons why you should have a bull terrier, or you should get the bull terrier. Here, I'm going to click Control Enter. And then Jarvis is automatically going to start writing words talking about these topics. I'm going to expand further by clicking Control J. And you can see that he's already starting to build points, or it is trying to build points into it. So I think this is great. Bulldogs, I think this is already good to go. I'll keep this as my copy. And then lastly, I'm going to ask Jarvis to write a CTA or question based on the paragraph. And that would be my CTA for the last slide. My Canva file is a 5-slide post. There is the title, there are the talking points, and then there is the CTA. So we're going to follow the same principle for this by basically, we're going to just create add page. I believe it's a yellow. I paste it, and there you go. So that's the first. Now we're going to go ahead and add some captions. And I'm going to say 3. This will try. Perfect. So I want to be able to create some sort of immersive experience between each slide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of the rockets.
So I noticed Jarvis AI, is it Jasper AI now?
Yeah. So I guess they didn't want to use Jarvis because it is a branding problem between what was that comic strip? Because I remember Iron Man uses Jarvis. So, and that would be the reason why they didn't want to use it anymore.
Mm.
So they had to rename it into Jasper just for trademark's sake.
Okay.
Yeah. But it still works.
Yeah. And is it a free tool?
It is not a free tool, unfortunately. It is a premium subscription. You do get the chance to use it for based on like 10,000 words.
Okay.
And that would help you kind of understand how it works. It's I highly recommend it. Trust me, as a freelancer, as a person who does make a lot of long form and short form content, you kind of get lost when it comes to building content, and you want to make sure that you're writing it properly. That's going to help you, give you a head start, rather than just you like looking and researching the information. Instead, let AI help you figure out where to go and start from there. So, okay, so now that I have, now there is no right and wrong when it comes to building this sort of content. The idea is to just make them look as presentable as possible.
Do you have any suggestions on strategy as to what kind of content you include in each frame or each image?
Not entirely. Sometimes what I would do is I would take it off from long form contents like blogs, and then I would condense them. So when I would talk to clients, I would tell them, what is it you want to like work with? Like, what kind of content do you want to build? And a lot of them would say like, I have a lot of existing content. I just want them to share it. And I'm like, and my blogs don't seem to be getting a lot of shares. So what I would say is, why not we try to approach it differently by turning it into an evergreen content? And by that, I mean, like, why don't we extract those main points and put them into a social media feed? And so that's where all the carousels come in. You can't make them in one post. Why not make them in multiples by building a carousel? And a lot of the times it's been really effective. It keeps a lot of customers or, all of these other folks engaged. And most of the time they don't end up they end up sharing it, and that's the idea.
So you have 5 images or 5, I guess,
slides. Yes.
Slides. What's the optimal number, or is there an optimal number? What's too many? What's too few?
So there is in Instagram, you can only upload 10 slides at a time. Anything more than that, it's not possible. You have to post another version of it. Most of the time, if you want it to be long, maybe around 8 slides would be best. Anything more is just too much. I haven't seen anyone kind of take advantage of that amount. It's really a lot. This might work. So what I need to do, because there's no background, there's no empty background, or maybe I can find one without a background. So I'll click here, cutouts only, nothing. So I would have to look for one based on the results. And as you can see, I think that's the most accurate one. What I would typically do is I wouldn't want to put it here because it's just going to interfere with the layout. I'm just going to I'm just going to add a page below. I'm going to propagate it over here, and then I'll click edit image, and then I'm going to use background remover. So remember we talked about memberships or subscription models. With the Canva Pro, you can have access to this, and you would know based on these crowns, some of the images and logos that you would see, they have a crown in them, and that would mean you won't be able to access it unless you have a paid subscription for it. So for this, I want to remove the background, and I just want to retain the image, this actual object itself. So I'm going to create that by using this object remover, and automatically it's just going to do its work. It's going to try to figure out how to remove that background and just keep this item like so. So now you have this clicker with everything around it without the background itself, which is great. I click apply, and now we have this image itself. I'm going to resize it. And then I'm going to cut this and bring it back up here. Paste. Perfect. So we now have the last part, which is the CTA. So we're going to go back here into Jarvis. And then I'm going to take this one. I'm going to copy by clicking Alt, holding Alt, and then dragging it over here. Editing the captions, by Control A, and then Control V, because I copied the captions from Jarvis, which is right here. I'm going to try to position it to the left side so that it complements the layout with the dog. Because this is being shared a lot, you would want to try to add like handles in each and every slide. For that, I would need to take one of Scud's images. I think I have the last one over here, this one. I'm going to copy this back into the carousel. And I'm just going to keep pasting it in between parts.
So you can't put any clickable links in.
You can now. They just introduced Instagram product tags, but it's only meant for those users that are selling products. But in terms of like a proper like dynamic interaction, they don't exist yet as of now. It would be nice, but we'll have to see. Instagram is changing so rapidly every time. So
Does that mean whoever the Instagram account has to be a business one, or?
yes. So a lot of the times Instagram's accounts would have to be a creator or business accounts profile in order for you to utilize other of the tools and insights that are available on the platform. So, okay. So now we have an entire Instagram carousel. We got all the elements of the topics, which is the 3 reasons of why you should get a bull terrier. So what do we do next? From here, you're going to have to click share, download, and then download as a PNG file. Make sure that you only select page 2 or page 1 after you've duplicated that carousel template. Click done, download. From here, I would have to save it, and then I would have to like place it into the website that I mentioned. So I'm going to save this first. Okay. And then from here, I will have to look for the split image, which is pinetools.com/split image. I would have to choose the file. Make sure that you select horizontally. Choose the file from here. And you get this image right here. From horizontally to quantity of blocks, make sure that you select 5 slides or 5 blocks. And you also increase the image quality to 100. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and select split image. From here, it already created the split image. I'm going to download the zip file.
So when it splits the image, it does it so every image is the same width, like equal width? Is that the idea?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to show you how it looks like when it's already split. Extract. See what I mean? So now it's all like kind of taken into, you would see that every element of it is now like separated evenly and that everything's on the center. That's why we had those grids, so that we can pay attention to where we want to lay down the captions, the images, the logos. They're all being placed into proper alignments. So you got that all going on, which is great. So what happens here? I'm going to go ahead and upload this into the page. If you are an Instagram connoisseur or a social media specialist, you should be using free tools as much as you can on a freelance basis. And the way to do this is by really utilizing Meta's or Facebook's publishing tools, which is their Meta Business Suite. I'm going to go click on Scud the Rocket over here. From here, you'll see the planner and publishing tools. I'm going to select this right here. From here, I'm going to go ahead and click Planner, Create. I'll make sure that it is posted on Scud the Rocket. I can also post it. I'll probably post it over here as well, since he's also joined in that group. And then I'm going to write some captions for this. But before that, I'll go ahead and add the images. Now, it doesn't really matter if you have used Meta Business Suites or this publishing tool in the past. The point is that if you do have a scheduling tool, whether it be this one or Hootsuite or later, is that you consider making sure that the alignments are perfectly arranged. You have all these other carousels placed in a certain order. So you got the title, you got the first 2, 3, and the last slide. I typically go to Instagram to see how it looks like. So from here, you can get to choose which one. I would say Instagram. And you got this sort of effect now that it's already continuous, which is fine. And I'm going to write some captions. I'm going to go back to Jarvis. I'm going to go to the template tab. I'm going to look for content improver. And I'm going to write, have you considered Here you go. So if you're still on the fence about getting a bull terrier, here are some reasons why it should be worth your time. Like it. Simple, easy to understand. Lots of questions when it comes to adopting a bull terrier, but here are some of the most common ones that you might come across. I'm going to use this as my caption. I'm going to go back into this and then just add some hashtags. Bull terrier, please. In terms of hashtag strategies, most of the time you only want to use about 5 relevant content, and that's it, nothing more. There's really no effective way of using hashtags. The only reason why is because you want to consider being able to take that target market based on interactions rather than using hashtags, which organically doesn't really do as much. So bull terriers.
Do you have a strategy for choosing hashtags?
Not really. For me, I would take as much as I can and I would put it into a spreadsheet just to monitor if it's getting a lot of conversions. To me, it's a matter of being consistent with the theme. So every time I would post a bull terrier post, I would always say bullies, bull terrier, dog tips, like anything around those lines. So, all right. So we're done with this one, which is fine. If you look here, both previews are showing, the right order, which is great. And all I have to do now is just click post. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this. Because I posted in the group, it's showing this notification that it may take a few minutes to publish your post on a group. Since I'm not moderating it, there's another host. But your main page, which is the Bull Terrier page on Facebook and Instagram, once it clicks publish, it would automatically go there, which is great. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to refresh this. And as you see, it's already available as you look into it. And you got that continuous feed that we are seeing now based on the design. So there you go. So that's just one simple example of building a carousel. Let me know if you guys have any questions.
Thank you for explaining all my questions because I was thinking the same questions as Lainey. And I'm so sorry, my dog is barking in the background. But I was thinking the same questions as Lainey, and you were able to explain it. And now I have no more questions.
Well, that's good. If you have or you need more inspirations, I have the template sent to you guys, which is great. You can also go into my website, simonbunyi.com, which is also made by Canva as well. If you go to sample work, you will see that I've created different various designs for carousels, which is really, really great. So whether it be like reunion shots, some tips for hair care, or like these insights, I've already had them available for you guys to look into. And yeah, I guess it's a matter of just feel free to message me. My handles are all associated into this page, as well as all other descriptions of what my services are all about. I'm always engaged on Acadium Plus channel. So if you have any other questions or you have other businesses that you need some tips from, I'm always right here.
That was great. Thank you so much, Simon. That was really well explained. I have one question. It has nothing to do with the carousel, but it's more the AI tool. I
Yeah.
noticed by you pay by the number of words. So how do you know? How does it track how many words you've used?
So every time you do an inquiry or do an impression or a question to Jarvis, every number that's being outputted is the number of impressions that you're doing, not based on the question. So every instance, as you click click output, that's the only time it builds the questions and or the results. That's where they're counting it. They're not. You're only getting that part of the limited number on a free basis. But once you have a monthly subscription, they don't care how much impressions you're using. It's quite expensive, but it's worth investing into when you're doing multitudes of different accounts. But there are other AI copywriting tools that you can get. There's copy.ai, there's Writer, that I know so far that's actually doing the right job. So
Well, it's good to know that all these tools are out there. I'm gonna have to try them.
yeah,
I have
I
to do
mean,
it.
I can teach you how to use it. It's not hard. Honestly, it's just making sure that you utilize it 100%. Because
Well, that sounds like another video.
yeah,
Yeah, you have to come on again.
I do second visit.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, no problem.
Oh, thank you for teaching this because I've been looking into social media roles, and now I have more of an idea of what to do with content creation. So thank you for teaching us this.
It was great. I'm looking forward to Simon's next tutorial about AI tools.
Oh, catch me in part 2 for AI and Jarvis, or Jasper as you would call it, and how to write content with AI, basically.